Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I want to talk Joey B, Zombie Joe, the Super Bowl, and Operation Talon, which nowhere in the media have I seen this other than Tucker Carlson. So we're going to get into a lot of things, and the first thing I want to talk about is that we briefly discussed during my Super Bowl coverage, live and exclusive, here for free on Sunday, about the propaganda towards the mainstream narrative of COVID 1984. And basically, on top of that, you had a lot of BLM stuff, you had a lot of mass stuff, but it was coming from the NFL itself. You really didn't see a lot of that in the commercials. You know, the biggest push, again, even reflecting on the commercials now, was this idea of, green, and then the move into, more automation, the transhumanism with Michael B. Johnson and your little smart speaker, right? So that was really subtle, right? You had the Will Ferrell electric car. So you had the green stuff, yeah. But I was surprised that I didn't see a whole lot of masking or a whole lot of hero stuff during the commercials. It wasn't really prevalent, okay? Now, in the beginning, they had Jill Biden actually open up because Joe looks so feeble. Man, I watched that again, and you look at Joe, he can't even really look into the camera strong while his wife is discussing this. He's kind of all over the place. You can tell that even in the 30 seconds that he had to get this straight cut, the whole thing probably took a while. And I do remember watching it, and I'm watching it, as they pan away for this moment of silence, you could kind of hear a rumble. All right, I don't know whether or not you would quote unquote call it a boo, but I also don't know what they were doing with the sound because it's pretty easy to turn that down. So I didn't really think much of it. I remember they cut to one of the players on the benches while this is supposed to be like this moment of silence. I'll tell you what I didn't see. A bunch of people with their heads down, the camera panning to those people. It was very quick. Okay, I did see them pan to one of the players and the player looking up, on the sideline, which I think we might even have a cut of when we get there. So now in retrospect, you think about this. You won't hear about that in the mainstream media, that the opening of the Super Bowl in Florida, okay, in Florida. Now, of course, it's a Trump state. But they tried to say it was a lot closer than I believe it might have been. Is that okay to say, YouTube? Because I know this is a Rockland exclusive now, but I'm thinking I'm going to put this one up there because I think it's important to talk about. So the Daily Mail, which, has a lot of propaganda itself, has Piers Morgan, who is just grotesque in many ways, and his perspective, but is a good news aggregate. And every once in a while does put something out. That's good. And they pointed out, they had the balls to point out that Joe and his wife Jill, with their coronavirus moment of silence, got booed. They got booed. And plenty of people that attended. I'm so glad it was in Tampa Bay, man. Wow, thank God. They could at least have somebody at that football stadium and push back, right? And you saw in the crowd a lot of people just taking their masks off, like having them around their chin. And again, why not? We're open here in Iowa. I want to point that out. Let me say it again. We are, in fact, open. So, as we move forward here, I'm going to play some of that. I'm going to show it to you. But the reality we have now is that we have a very, very wildly unpopular, senile old puppet in office protected by the media and literally protected by the military in D.C. to the point where they have fences up and there can be no organized protest by the people in that area. It's like the super gaslight supreme. Forget about that Time magazine article. So we're going to get to all of it in a moment. I do want to remind everybody, we are fully demonetized on YouTube. GoFundMe got rid of my last campaign. I do want to say there is some good news on the censorship front. Dan Dix had his YouTube channel put back up. And it's like, wow, that's awesome, Dan. So we're going to try to get him on. Who knows why that happened? He did like an 11-minute video on it, but Press for Truth is back up. I wonder if I'm still subscribed. I'm going to go check that out and see if I'm still subscribed to Press for Truth. But he's another great one to help out, to fund, to check out. Please consider it. Go get funding. There's links down below. Crypto exploding right now. That's another great way to support me. Obviously, if you're watching me on Rockfin, awesome. If you're not, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share over at YouTube. But Rockfin, at least make the free account. If I do get deplatformed, right, that's where you're going to be able to find my content. Plus, this is a platform that's empowering people through giving them a stake in the network. And as crypto goes up right now, it's not going to go up forever. There's going to be dips. There's going to be dives. Who knows where it's going to go? I'm not giving anybody investment advice. But so far, this network is empowering me through technology and not censoring me. Okay? So really important. Please check it out if you're not on the Rockfin and you're watching the replay. And remember, Odyssey has also backed up my entire channel over at YouTube if I do get deplatformed. So thank you, Odyssey. Super Bowl, Joe Budden. Here it is. All right. So I wonder if they have the whole thing right here. Let's see if we can play this message. Because again, look at him struggling. He looks so lost. His eyes are dead.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Before kickoff, we wanted to thank all the frontline health.
Come on, I wanted it from the very beginning. Maybe we should do it live. Was that a boo? Of course it was a boo. There was no moment of silence at all. I noticed that. Biden was booed. Like they go down the line, but you'll never see that in America. Let's do it live, and let's find the entire address. Okay. Jill Biden, Joe Biden, Super Bowl. Let's see videos. So let's see. Is this the whole thing? Snopes. See, Snopes is fact checking. You can't see. It's inconclusive, by the way. Snopes, again, just the total gaslighter of all time. It's unreal. All right, let's see if we get it here. The whole thing. Okay.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Before kickoff, we wanted to thank all the frontline healthcare heroes, both at the game and watching across the country. You put yourself at risk to keep the rest of us safe. You and your families carried us through this year with courage, compassion, and kindness. We couldn't have made it without you. With all our hearts, thank you.
Now, again, you just saw Joe kind of talk to himself, get himself up. This probably takes 72. That might be satire. I don't know. But again, the majority of this is Jill Biden. And I think that he did say something beforehand, but I'm not sure why they cut in at Super Bowl.
Now, as we thank you and all of our censor workers, let's remember we all can do our part to save lives. Wear masks. Stay socially distanced. Get tested. Get vaccinated when it's your turn. And most of all, let's remember all those who we've lost. So please join us, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the National Football League in a moment of silence for the more than 440,000 Americans who lost their lives in this pandemic and for their loved ones who are left behind.
That's a straight 40 seconds. I got to give him the credit. That's almost a straight 40 seconds. All right. Now, again, he didn't look good. How many takes was that pre-record? Who knows? But I want you to also think about this. How much has Joe Biden been in a live public scenario speaking, not just signing executive orders for 5 minutes, but like at a podium or afterwards talking to the press? Has he even been live talking for like 30 minutes since he's been in office combined? I'm not talking about in a row, like 30. Am I crazy to question that? So there's another story that I was really unaware of regarding this presidency. And look, I'm not going to try to make this about the immigration issue. You want to watch this whole piece. Tucker Carlson put it up. But there's a certain portion of it that I think is extremely important, and that's Operation Talon. Okay, and I think it speaks to not only the immigration policy, but right now where we're seeing in major metropolitan and city areas, sometimes a almost tripling of crime from the previous year. Let me repeat that. A tripling of crime. And we've seen the gun crimes in New York, and we've seen the murders and the attempted murders go up. And we've seen how this catch and release policy, whether you're an illegal immigrant to me or not, is working. It doesn't work. Okay? And that's not to say that we don't have abhorrent issues with police departments around the country. We do. We still want human beings policing us. I promise you. So, out of this whole report, what stung me is that Operation Talon, which was specifically saving children, let me say that again, which was specifically saving children, abuse victims, okay, sexual abuse victims, was stopped by the Biden administration. Here, listen to this.
Profoundly as possible. In an internal memo sent last week, ICE officials announced the administration is suspending something called Operation Talon. That operation targeted sex offenders, but no more. Illegal alien sex offenders are now a protected class. Then a day after that, another internal ICE memo announced that, quote, effective immediately, the Biden administration would stop deporting illegal aliens who've been convicted of drug offenses, assault, DUI, money laundering, property crimes, fraud, tax evasion, or who have gang tattoos.
So let's just stop it there. Look, I'm not trying, again, I want to repeat this, not trying to make it about immigration. But the bottom line is a reflection of also what's going on in New York without any kind of immigration issues, just with the catch and release policy. Okay, that's why I let that play on top of it. But just think to yourself how ridiculous it is that you wouldn't be going after sex offenders, legal or illegal, and that you would suspend. I've reported on Operation Talon over the last, I think, 12 to 18 months. It's actually something that this administration should be proud of. Should it be Department of Homeland Security and ICE? Probably not. I don't like the Department of Homeland Security, but just like I said, without the Department of Homeland Security, it's not like you wouldn't have immigration, right? You would have law enforcement there. It just wouldn't be called ICE. Remember, that was the expansion. So it just speaks to me that we live in this really bizarro world, okay, where the president of the United States, who's supposed to be, the guy that got the most votes ever, with no voter fraud, okay, and no election rigging, just fortifying by a secret cabal that loves us. That guy who can barely speak, okay, who dare not show his face at the game for real, can't even get a moment of silence? Yeah, I mean, again, we live in wild times. And then, on top of all these other executive orders, you end the program that's successfully going after sex offenders. I mean, man, wow. So that's really all I have to say about it. I'm not trying to make this a right-left issue or, like Biden bad, left bad, Democrats bad. But I'll tell you what, that move is a terrible one. And you can see how the country really feels about Joe Biden, a senile old man who's clearly a puppet being in office right now. So thumbs it up, subscribe, share. You know where the links are. We're not going to give you the whole rigmarole. But remember, Rockfin is the future, baby. ROKFIN.com. If you did join me live, like Patty, thank you so much for joining me live, and others. And Patty, thank you so much for all you do out there. And I know that you watch all the time. You contribute. You're great. I love you. And it's viewers like Patty that also share the information that make this all possible. So, guys, I'll see you on the flip side.